Wow. Hey, welcome to BS Free MD live stream, Doctales with Cocktails episode. You know, listening to that intro music, it just makes me think of when we went to the Iron Maiden concert. They have their own intro music, and I'm thinking someday.
They don't. Their intro music is from UFO, which is an old British metal band, and they play Doctor, Doctor, Please. And then
that's what I meant. So yes. I'm like, this is our cool theme. I don't know. We're not going to have a band, but someday we're on a tour. I really like that bumper music.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's sticking in my brain. Well, welcome everybody to the show. And it's been a moment since you've been on here. We're happy to have you back. And as always, we're here to entertain and share some silly stories, news episodes, Tim's rants of the week, and the Doctales cocktails of the evening. And we have been cocktailing before we got here. And I've got a couple delicious shares here for you for midway through the show. So can't wait to get started. And as always, keep the comments coming. If you're joining us from the dinner table with your family, we will keep it clean somewhat. And otherwise, we're happy to have you here. So yes, thanks for chatting and chiming in. We want your comments because we love to interact with our audience while you're here. That bumper music is kind of spooky, kind of Halloweenish, right? But I think, it's been going all year long, so it's going to stay because I love it. All right. Well, Tim's been reading the news, recording the commercials, and he is going to take it from here on some silly stuff of the week.
Yeah. So the first story is actually, maybe I should save it for the end, but no. What I'm saving for the end is so freaking unbelievably great. You just can't believe it. Thus unbelievable because you can't believe it. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a positive, heartwarming story for the first story. And here we go. This one blows my mind. I saw something on Instagram and then I researched it and I was like, I can't believe this exists. They're called seizure dogs, okay, which are not dogs with seizures. They're service dogs, usually labs, that people with seizure disorders have, and the dogs can predict seizures. What's your problem?
What? Where have you been? You've been trolling Instagram. You've been trolling Twitter and X and watching too much sports. You have never heard of these before?
No, I've heard of them before. But the thing that got me, like,
I had a patient that had one.
Yeah, but they can actually. I found an article. Seizure dogs
reading your mind.
Can be.
They know when it's coming.
They are all alarm system. They are helpers, protectors, and service providers.
They can predict the seizures.
They can predict the seizure and literally run and get pills and bring them to the person.
Yeah.
And then if they're on the ground, they'll lay on them and hold them so that they're safe. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah, I had a patient that had one.
How do they know that they're going to have a seizure?
Isn't that spooky? I know. There's another patient that had severe hypoglycemic diabetic episodes with diabetic seizures, and the dog could predict it. That made sense because of the smell,
the odor. Smell if they're getting.
But you're right. Isn't it amazing how with an actual neurologic condition that they can tell that it's about to
Some dogs, this is an article, learn to put their body between the seizing individual and the floor to break the fall at the start of a seizure.
Okay, that's pretty cool. I mean, I don't know. Are there specific types of dogs that are better for this than others?
It's usually the greatest.
It's not the Chihuahuas?
No. It's usually...
the bigger dogs.
It's usually...
What, labs?
Labs and... Well, it's... the
German Shepherds?
Yes.
Yeah.
Labs and German Shepherds. You could probably get a golden retriever, but then you'd aspirate so much shedding hair that you would die from,
and it's not going to be your little Pomsky because you would kill it when you were laying on it. I think I told you this, but man, when I was on the plane coming back from Canada a couple weeks ago, this lady, it was so funny. I'll wrap it up quick. But this service dog got on the plane with this lady, and I saw her coming down the aisle, and she had a big duffel bag and then a backpack and this huge service dog who looked like a lab, but it was the size of almost a Great Dane. So it was some kind of breed. Huge dog. I'm like, wow, that thing's allowed on the plane. It is a miniature pony. That's a dog. So of course, the connection that I had was super short, and I went and got the crap from the instant, food thing, and I had this box of chicken fingers and fries, and I walked on the plane with this open box and sat in my seat beside the window. I'm watching this lady, and I got my chicken fingers, and I'm like, I know it. That dog is coming right up to my food, and sure enough, she came in with this dog that barely fit in the aisle of the 3 seats. She had purchased a seat just for the dog, and then she was on the aisle. So the dog was in the middle. I was by the window, and the poor dog, he was muzzled, but his face was right in my box of food because you could tell he was like, I can smell it. I know not to touch it. He was really good. And then basically the flight attendant knew that dog was not going to fit very well between the two of us, and she moved her to the dog had the whole. Well, and her had the whole aisle to themselves, and the dog spread. He was super chill, but I'm like, that's pushing the boundaries of the size of an animal on a plane. Except if you're
it's a service,
Asia.
if it's a service animal, they have to let it on. Somebody had a miniature horse that was a service horse that they let on an airplane. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go and I'm going to say, I have a service anaconda. And they're like, sir, where is your service anaconda? I'm going to look at them and go, in my pants.
Oh, yeah, stop it. You're funny. And you'd have to have a big blue ribbon on it to identify it.
Yes, I have a service anaconda in my pants.
I wonder if there's a size limit.
For my service anaconda?
When I was in Asia,
it's
Turkish
so
Airlines,
ridiculous.
I remember this was a long, long, long time ago. People getting on the plane. This is a different time in a different continent with chickens and goats and such, and it was awful. Yep. It was like livestock airlines, but big service animals. I don't know, when's it going to stop? Anyway, dogs do some amazing things.
Yeah, so. but it got me thinking. If you can have a service dog that can like somehow sense or smell out a seizure before the patient, the person stricken with epilepsy can, what else could you have a service dog for?
Well, I can think what you want it for. It's going to have
STD screening. You have the skank dog.
You're going to get that at your office?
Yeah, the skank dog. You go to bars. Well, this is my service dog. It has to come into the bar. Well, what does it do? It tells me who's safe and who's unsafe to be promiscuous with. Not that that's my lifestyle. It never has been. But there may be a market for such people that they would want a skank dog.
And how are they going to train them? Can you imagine the training for that? I don't even want to go down.
Oh.
All I know is I'm not the one. I'm not going to be the one training that dog because I've been down that department before and one and done smelling that stuff and you're out.
Oh, there's lots of public health clinics. I'm sure they can train those dogs very, very quickly.
Remember when we did that STD clinic up in our residency in Edmonton, and that was a bowl of fun, wasn't that? Dang.
Oh.
People talk about watching Dr. Pimple Popper and like loving that. We were talking about that today. I was at Canasta and they're like, favorite TV shows, Dr. Pimple Popper. I'm like, yeah, that looks great on TV until you smell it. Right up along there with that, smelling some STD clinics.
Yeah, May had actually some sebaceous cyst.
I didn't tell that story.
Unbelievably stinky juice. It's unbelievably stinky, and it got stuck in her hair, kind of like something about Mary.
Like a blue cheese meets.
Yes, and she was so pissed off at the staff. Blue? She's like, something stinks. You guys never cleaned the rooms. It's really stinky. Well, you know what? When the whole world stinks, maybe it's you.
Yeah, I should have told that story. I tell it.
Yes.
Get all the details.
And it was like literally like kind of hanging right by your nose and like just.
Well,
yes.
Now that we're telling the
chunks
story,
opus.
I was incising and draining one of those carefully because you want to take them out in the whole capsule. You don't want to do Dr. Pimple Popper and squeeze those things out.
No. You want to take them out in toto. Or Africa, as the case may be.
I was trying to shell it out. But what happened was they're under so much tension. this thing literally shot past me. And I remember my nurse behind me kind of giggling and ducking. And I turn around because it was under so much force and it hit the back wall like a little pus rocket. And then there was more.
That
and
would
it was just
be an
oozing all over like a squeeze a snack. Cheese. Remember those cheese squeeze a
Yeah.
snack?
Pus Rocket. That is an unbelievably great name for a punk band. Pus Rocket.
There you go.
It's a name of Pus Rocket.
You're in the marketing department.
Pus
Anyway, that thing shot past. Well, lo and behold, the room reeked. We got the procedure done, and I came out of there, and that room was right down the hall from where I was seeing patients. I'm like, dang, I can still smell that stuff. You guys didn't clean it well. Well, you're right. I happened to take a glimpse in the mirror of the towel dispenser by the sink and caught a "What About Mary" moment going on in my hair, and that was
something about Mary, but that's besides
that too. Anyway, so moving on past smells from life and work.
Oh, this
What do you
one,
got?
this story, again, like you can't make this shit up. It makes me believe that Elon's right and we're living inside the Matrix. This is an Idiocracy is prophecy. Here you go. Let's see if I can get this figured out. Yes. Believe it or not, this happened in England. A British man is convicted of criminal charges for praying silently near abortion clinic. Yes, apparently in England, thought crimes are actually a thing. And people go, why do you care so much about free speech? I don't know, so that I don't end up living in a country where thought crimes are a problem. In Britain, here's an article from Reason.
Whoa.
Reason
it says
magazine.
praying for his dead son.
Yes, because his son was aborted.
Mm.
So he went to the abortion clinic because he had a change of heart with regards to, what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And it said, in Britain, it can be a crime to think the wrong thoughts in the wrong place. It sounds absurd, not to mention Orwellian, but a handful of people have been arrested or charged in the country simply for praying silently near abortion clinics. This month, a British man was convicted of criminal charges for praying silently near an abortion clinic. The man, Adam Smith Connor, did not attempt to harass, intimidate, or interact in any way with those entering the clinic. Instead, he wordlessly prayed with his head bowed silently. He wasn't even on clinic property. He was outside the sightline of the clinic itself. As a result, Smith Connor was questioned by police and later charged with violating a public spaces protection order, a broad censorship order enabled by the 2014 Antisocial Behavior Crime and Policing Act. But they spell behavior insane because they're British. Under this law, local authorities can obtain special status for some public places, allowing them to ban a huge range of conduct. In the name of limiting antisocial behavior, British towns have obtained this ban to ban the homeless from sleeping outside or to ban swearing. That means everyone in Britain would be in jail.
Whoa.
And it means everyone in Australia would be on death row.
So they're lumping praying in public?
Praying silently.
How do they know he's praying? Just because he's...
Because they asked him, what are you doing? He said, I'm praying. And then they arrested him. He could have said, I was fantasizing about gay porn, and nothing would have happened.
Wow.
Smith Connor violated this order in November 2022. He was convicted and sentenced earlier this month to a conditional discharge similar to probation in order to pay approximately $11,700 in prosecution fees.
What?
Yes. And so the whole point about this is
the country that you all worship for, it's Medicare.
So and the whole point is that they're like, well, he might be saying something against abortion. Well, why can't he say something against abortion? People can say things for abortion. Why can't you have a counter argument? Because they don't have free speech in Britain. That's why this freaking election next week is so damn important.
But they have free health care.
Yeah. Well,
just
they
like
have
in Canada.
Yeah, I don't free bullshit. Like Like it's so unbelievably crazy.
And amazing scones with clotted cream.
Yeah. Yeah, clotted brain.
I love. I love. Wow.
No,
That's frightening.
no, it's frightening. It's terrifying. It's terrifying. What are you
Communist
doing here?
Country at its best.
Yeah, like so.
Forget the
There's
freedom
lots of
speech.
reasons.
Now you
I
can't
get
even
it.
have silent speech in your head.
No, you can't. And it's you know what? It's the Megadeth song from Holy Wars. Pretty soon they'll come to take my thoughts away. That's how the song ends. Pretty soon they'll come to take my thoughts away. Yes, because that's exactly what this is about. It's always about thought control. Tell yourself something different. It is. All the manipulation from the left, all the manipulation from the right, all the bullshit advertising on TV, it's all thought control. They want to control what you think, control what you feel using fear porn, manipulation, marketing techniques. That's what it is. And this is not where it ends. This is where people finally go, oh shit, this is terrible. $11,000 for praying near an abortion clinic, not on their property. And people go, well, it could never happen in the United States. Yeah, you know what? It could.
Speechless.
No, dead.
I'm speechless.
Yeah. I mean, it.
Wow.
You cannot make this up. It's just.
Wow, that's biblical, man.
It is. Next thing you know, they'll take my thoughts away. Burn that. Listen to Holy Wars tonight.
That's totally.
Next thing you know, they'll take my thoughts away.
Is it targeting Christians? Would it be the same if it was a Muslim?
I don't think so. Considering the mayor of London is a Muslim,
right?
Considering that entire country has been taken, considering the number one most common name for a male baby for the last several years in London is Muhammad. Okay, that's fine. If you want that immigration policy, whatever. I don't vote there. I don't live there. Do you think if somebody had, the Muslim head cap and all that on, do you think this would happen? I have a feeling. I don't know, but I have a feeling it wouldn't happen.
Well, hasn't happened yet. I don't see any news stories of that. Wow.
Because you know what? Our Muslim brethren are not really pro-abortion either, are they?
Wow, that's a Debbie Downer. All right. Anything better?
Yeah, this is way better.
That'll wake you up if that.
Yes, in the shit happens category, which absolutely blows my mind.
Well, we can't read it all because our
I can
beautiful logos block it out.
I got another article here. Kentucky man declared brain dead, woke up during organ harvesting. And it was in Kentucky, not
in China.
China.
Oh, dear.
T.J. Hoover II. Yes. A man who had gone into cardiac arrest and been declared brain dead woke up as surgeons in his home state of Kentucky were in the middle of harvesting his organs for donation.
Okay, time out. Woke up as they were harvesting his organs. He's on the operating room table, anesthetized.
Let me finish the article. It will explain all of this.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself. Okay, go ahead.
As reported by both National Public Radio, well, then you know it's true, and the Kentucky news station WKYT, Kentucky.
Isn't that like WKRP in Cincinnati?
It's pretty close.
Oh, okay.
The case of Anthony Thomas, T.J. Hoover II, is under investigation by state and federal government officials. Officials within the U.S. organ procurement system insist there are safeguards in place to prevent such episodes, blah, blah, blah. Hoover's sister, Donna Rohrer, recounted how Hoover was taken to Baptist Hospital Health in Richmond, Kentucky on October 2021 because of a drug overdose. Doctors soon told Rohrer and her relatives that Hoover lacked any reflexes or brain activity, and they ultimately decided to remove him from life support. The staff at Baptist then reportedly told Rohrer and her family that Hoover had given permission for his organs to be donated.
How did they?
Okay, he might have had a donor card. Who knows?
No, but like, how did he wake up if he's under anesthesia and they're harvesting organs? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, I'll find it here.
Did you read it?
Yes.
Okay. So no anesthesia.
When they were
harvesting.
No, they started to go. He was sedated. Why does he need to be sedated if he's brain dead?
Exactly.
Thanks, geniuses. So they start like cutting into this guy, and his eyes open up, and he starts like wiggling around.
Oh my gosh.
So this
small town Kentucky.
This
don't get your appendix taken out there. They might forget to put you under. They're harvesting organs, and he's not. Even though they think he's brain dead, like, come on.
But this brings up a whole bunch of questions.
I could be wrong.
Like a whole bunch, as they would say, host of questions.
Plethora. I like the word plethora.
So there's a real dilemma that I never thought about, and I've listened to some commentators about this. There's a real dilemma in organ harvesting because you actually have to harvest organs from a live patient. But you can't harvest organs from a live patient because they're alive. So then we came up with this thing that's kind of not really dead and not really alive, which is brain death. Mm-hmm. So they had to make brain death. But brain death isn't death. Brain death is brain death. And so there was this legal...
It's one organ that's not...
That's correct.
Functioning, yeah.
There was this legal kind of finagling, legal and moral kind of finagling, which is if you're brain dead, you're dead. And so legally you're dead if you're brain dead, but you're actually not really dead. That's the problem. Of course you're not
actually dead.
Because you have to, and it all came out of this good-natured, well-intended concept of procuring organs.
I think we can all follow that, though.
Right.
I mean, it makes sense. If the thing that makes you who you are and makes you alert, function as a human is not functioning, but the other processes are keeping
yes,
your
but that's
body going.
Yeah, but the point is this: you don't know that. You're assuming that your brain is what makes you who you are.
Well, if your brain's not working and you're lying there, never to talk, walk, see, communicate again.
Okay, I don't have a problem.
The question is: it a coma or
right? But that's the problem because you're assuming that personality and consciousness and mind all exist inside your head, and they may not. As we've discussed with other guests like Eben Alexander, consciousness may be beyond us.
So we can exist without interacting with the rest of society.
Correct.
As a body.
Correct.
Functioning organs.
Yes.
I don't know.
So I it brings up a whole, now, if 2 seconds after you shut off the heart, like the, ventilator or whatever, you're dead, then I think it's reasonable to maintain people on a ventilator, take them to the operating room, and harvest their organs. If somebody's brain dead and still breathing on their own, I don't know that they harvest
people in comas for years before.
Yeah, I don't think they harvest those people. But this guy, something was up. Like they're like he's like
that doesn't make sense because you've had people in comas where there's some sign of brain activity. They don't declare them dead. They're in comas for years.
Well, if you're breathing, you have brain activity. That's the bottom line. You have brain activity.
Right. So,
right? But so then there's like if your cerebral cortex dies and your brain stem is alive, are you brain dead enough? I'll have to research this. I'm pleading ignorance on this. I'll have to go back and for another show look at like, is there scales of brain death? Like, can you be brain dead, declared essentially dead, and have your organs harvested and still be breathing on your own?
And I kind of doubt that. I think you'd have to be intubated, tubed, ventilated, and everything else going. We don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But T.J. Hoover II found out the hard way.
Something tells me he wasn't intubated. If he came to like that, wow, what a story!
No, it's a crazy story. I'm gonna have to look more into that. I apologize for not knowing all of those questions because I didn't ask them until my lovely wife was here.
Because I think those thoughts. I'm the one with the questions. I'm like the patient. But what about this? But what about that? Let
Here
me
we
know.
go. What are we drinking? Well, I'm drinking whiskey.
Whiskey from a paper cup.
Thank you, Larry Norman.
Oh, you know. Well, tomorrow's Halloween, so I have some spooktacular vibes going. What are you dressing up as for Halloween, by the way? I'm going to be, I decided, I'm harvesting your side of the closet. Don't tell the neighbors, but I'm going to go as a cowgirl with your fun cowboy boots and funky America hat.
Well, then you're going to have to stuff a lot of stuff in that hat to get it to
What, straw stuffing?
fit your head.
And you can go as, I don't know, dress up as a doctor or something original like that. All right. No, this is straight from Cooper's Hawk Winery tonight where we were. The wines of the month. So I'm just sharing them. If you have a Cooper's Hawk near you, which I'm sure many of you don't, but in case you do, the wines of the month are amazing, especially this lovely French Sauvignon Blanc. So good and refreshing. And now I know it's fall, but it's light, crisp and delicious with fish.
It's fall, or in South Florida, summer.
It is. And so the Pinot Noir, which is also another Padma Lakshmi, and I probably said her name wrong, Lakshmi vintage, very delicious as well. So if you're in the neighborhood, check out the Pinot Noir and the Sauvignon Blanc from Cooper's Hawk, wines of the month for November. Both amazing. The Pinot Noir is, I'm going to say, just as good as the Oregon Pinot Noirs of old, from old stomping grounds. We need to come up with a spooky cocktail or something in the week for Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Something with like dry ice, although we don't have access to dry ice anymore to have it bubbling over like a cauldron of. We did that one time. It was so fun.
Well, yeah, and you could do that liquid nitrogen here and go outside where it's 85 and it would be like poof and done. I've got another story here in the safe and effective realm. I love that bumper so much with the guns and the cigarettes and the vaccine needles. It makes me so happy. So check this one out. Okay, read that one for me.
Well, the camera's in the way.
It says to lower your risk of respiratory viruses like flu. This is from Instagram.
Getting
CDC.
Sick from respiratory viruses like flu, COVID-19, and RSV. Use preventative strategies that fit your
needs, like
practice good hygiene. Improve air circulation. Use a mask. Keep physical distance and get vaccinated.
Okay, so I have a couple problems with this. Do you see an obvious contradiction there, May? Good hygiene. Yeah, that's easy.
Well, improve air circulation while using a mask.
Exactly. Exactly.
I'm thinking that's just so.
Because
how can you circulate air with the mask stuffed to your face?
When you're rebreathing all of your own CO2 and schmutz from your nose and mouth. Mouths and noses are dirty for a reason. They filter stuff out.
It's circulating, all right.
And it's just recircling your own, like, whatever. And good air circulation, but wear a mask. No, CDC, bite me, you dumbasses.
I think people are so over it and laughing about the mask now. We all know how ineffective most all know how ineffective those are. How many times have we said it? Just take a vape pen, blow it through, and watch all the particles come through.
You're a doctor that's saying you should vape?
And those are large particles. The viral particles, smaller, are going to get through. And the sides and we talked about how many times that those even N95s, for them to work properly, you need to be fitted.
No, it's so completely ridiculous.
I don't understand. And I just honestly feel sad for these people that don't know better.
You read those CDC Instagrams.
Like, why are they pushing the mask?
No, you read that, and every comment is like, F you, CDC, no more vaccines. You guys are full of shit. You failed before, blah, blah. Like, there's never, it's like, there's a couple that might probably Russian bots. It's like, thank you CDC for helping us save. It's just it's nothing. People are like, no one trusts them. It's like you're utterly full of dog crap.
I don't get the mask thing anymore.
No, it's it's just completely nuts. And hospital systems, guess what? Where you're making people wear masks like 5 years after this crap, all you're doing is showing people that you're not about science, you're about billing, you're about customer service awards, and a whole bunch of horse shit that isn't science. You should be ashamed and embarrassed.
Well,
and every single freaking hospital system in the United States is the same in that regard. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, if you don't get a flu shot, you got to wear a mask. You got to wear a mask because, there might be COVID. Well, COVID right now, for the absolute vast majority of people, even very elderly people, is a cold. And you know what? We should be praising God and thanking him that it has morphed into a cold now.
It makes no sense. They're still if you're not symptomatic, wearing the mask makes 100%
like the only thing a mask does, and only thing a mask does is stop droplets.
Right.
And these respiratory viruses like COVID, flu, para-influenza, blah, 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 it has been shown time and again, are not transmitted through droplets. Unless you licked somebody's droplets off their face, they're transmitted through aerosol, because droplets are like bombs that immediately fall to the ground. So unless somebody like coughs one right into your nose, because it has to go into your nose, that's where the receptors are to get sick. But when it's aerosolized for hours and hours and hours, and you breathe it in through your nose, which is super hilarious because damn near every patient I see that wears a mask has it over their mouth and not over their nose. The only thing that matters is your nose. The only thing. You don't inhale it into your lungs through your mouth and get sick. You inhale it through your nose, and it has enough time to sit in there and infect you. So it's like I'm just done with stupid, ridiculous, unscientific, neo-religious, pagan bullshit. That's what it is.
Well,
I'll tell you how I
really feel.
It makes me just insane. But what makes me really, really, really happy is the meme of the week. Okay, this completely blew my mind. You may have heard yesterday Biden came out and got his diaper changed and talked about how Trump supporters were garbage. And they tried to say that he didn't say that. Well, he did. We have the video, and we're going to play it. So here you go.
While Kamala Harris may have hoped to bask in the glow of her jam-packed Tuesday night rally, her campaign is stuck cleaning up comments President Biden made on a live stream to supporters.
Or Puerto Rico, where I'm in my home state of Delaware, they're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
Okay, he said it. The only garbage I see out there are his supporters. That's it. He called them garbage. They sent out some bullshit transcript that said, tried to change it. No, he said that. Okay, why did he say that? Because there was a comedian at Trump's gigantic rally in Madison Square Garden that talked about garbage floating in the sea. And he said, oh, no, that's not garbage. It's Puerto Rico.
Yes,
well,
yes,
why did he say that?
That
why
too.
Is it a funny joke? It's because Puerto Rico has a landfill problem. So it's not because Puerto Rico's garbage or the people of Puerto Rico are garbage. It's because Puerto Rico has a gigantic landfill problem because it's a relatively inhabited, island with a bunch of people and a landfill problem. So it's actually funny, and it's actually poking. It would be like
what making fun of the garbage dumps here that are making mountains for people to
right. It would be
of?
like poking fun at some places in Canada for an ice problem or whatever. Okay. Yes, Puerto Rico has a garbage problem. So then the Democrats in desperation have jumped on this, and Trump did this, and he's calling people, whatever. Right. So what does Trump do? He does this, and we're going to listen to it a couple times. This is from Instagram, and this is absolutely political genius.
How do you like my garbage truck? This truck is in honor of Kamala and Joe Biden. How do you like my garbage truck? This truck is in honor of Kamala and Joe Biden.
Okay. Thought there's no way. That's got to be AI.
No. So Trump gets, like, the next day after this happens, he gets in a garbage truck with Trump Make America Great Again, puts on the reflective vest, sits, and it's just like, F you. Here's my garbage truck full of my supporters. It's like, what a freaking savage. Like, look, I'm partisan as hell. You guys know this. I'm not hiding anything. That's the guy I want negotiating with Putin. Because God knows what he's going to do.
Negotiating is the first part, right?
Here's my garbage truck. I got it from China. I mean, it's just, that
was great.
I watched that. I don't know how many. I just laughed and laughed and laughed. It was so funny.
That's funny.
Yes, the thawing. Yes, Heather, like the thawing poo in Alaska. Exactly.
Oh, I hadn't heard about the thawing poo in Alaska. I mean, I know there's a lot up there.
Yeah, but, well, I mean, I can only imagine, because we've lived in places where that are frozen, and you just let your dog take a dump wherever, and then the snow falls on it, and then it thaws out, and then you're living in a cornucopia of dog turd. That's what I love about. That's why
dog and every other animal.
That's how I know I'm living in a civilized place. Like I get up and I go for a run, or I go to work in the morning, and there's all these people with dogs walking around with these plastic bags. And I go, you know what? I know I live in a civilized place because people clean up their dog crap.
That's true.
It's a thing of beauty.
Yeah. So that must have been a story. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. About what? It's winter and everybody just lets their dog go in the frozen tundra because it's frozen and they don't smell it and they don't have to deal with it until summer comes. Spring. The spring thaw brings a nice odor along with it.
Yes. No, it's
spring has sprung. The grass is riz. Wonder where my dog took a whiz.
Yeah, I don't know.
You can smell it.
Here's my garbage truck. Like, I love that. Like, what an absolute troll. Like, who can you imagine? Ronald Reagan or Mondale or any of these guys from the 80s having the balls to do that. Can you also imagine any of them calling the supporters of the other person garbage? Like, that would none of this would happen.
No,
either side, none of it would happen. Right? Like, Walter Mondale would have never in a million years thought of calling Reagan's supporters garbage. But,
you're calling half the country garbage.
Yes. But he just had his diaper changed and his bottom is a little chafed, and they shouldn't let him within 1,000 miles of a microphone because he's clearly cognitively impaired. So then Kamala comes out and tries to distance herself from him. Meanwhile, she was on The View and it's like, what would you do different than Biden? Well, I can't think of anything. That's right. Because you don't think.
I can't think of anything.
Nothing comes to mind. Do you know why? Nothing comes to mind.
Pretty darn funny.
Nothing comes to mind.
And she's all about, I'm running on a different platform.
Right. No, but that's her entire life is nothing comes to mind.
That's not what she says in campaign speech. She's
Nothing
like, don't
comes
vote
to mind
for me based on the past record. That's the past.
No, that's the only data points we have are the past.
Anyway.
All right. I could rant about. I got to not rant about politics.
Put a time limit on your political rants.
But our neighbors are from Chicago, and for our American listeners, we should just do what they've done in Chicago for generations and generations.
Hire the mafia?
No, vote early and vote often.
Mm-hmm. There you go. We did vote early. I don't think we can vote again.
No, because they actually check our ID. So we can't go back. I saw an Instagram today of a guy in New York City, and he went to show him ID and they just waved them through. They don't check it.
What?
California, it's illegal to check voter ID. Illegal. It's illegal.
Why?
That's called cheating.
It's illegal?
Illegal.
So you could just show up a bunch of times and pretend you're a bunch of people.
Of course. And you could have,
I could just be Heather Thorpe. Say, I'm Heather Thorpe. I'm here to vote. I'll come back and I'm Mary Beth Lundy, here to vote. Or Desiree.
Yeah.
Just show up a bunch of times. Wow. What a jacked up state. Oh my gosh.
no, but they're like, it's that.
Hmm.
It's all.
Well, now that I've assumed all of our listeners' identities and voted by proxy in California for them. Anything else
no,
on your mind?
I'm pretty much done. But just for one last time, just because it's just so savagely delicious.
Truck. This truck is in honor of Kamala and Joe Biden. How do you like my garbage truck? This truck is in honor of Kamala and Joe.
Okay, on that happy note, we'll see you later.
And don't forget to listen, subscribe, and give us some reviews on the podcast platform, especially Apple. I think you could do it on Spotify. And what's your latest favorite upcoming podcast release interview? Any thoughts on that?
Oh, well, actually, Pamela, the Truthful Therapist, was released on Monday.
So she was on our show months ago.
And then again, we recorded last week, and that was released a couple days ago. And it was awesome. She went to the American Academy of Pediatrics with detransitioners and started to question doctors about,
how much they knew. Right.
And it was
how much they knew about pushing the whole gender affirmation, gender ideology, supporting that versus, are there some negatives to it versus all that's pushed is the pro.
Great episode if you have not listened.
What happened to her and her group was astounding.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And she's such a I wish all therapists just had her common sense and love for kids. I mean, it's just and families. It's amazing. So that's a great episode. Pamela's always great to have on the show. You should follow her on her social media as well.
The Truthful Therapist.
The Truthful Therapist. Yes. So check that out. And as always, we appreciate letters, comments, and your support. Thank you guys for being there. Happy Halloween. Trick. No, just no trick.
Just treat.
Or Tim will get his service dogs out there after you.
That's right. Yes. Oh, she turned tricks. How do I know? Because my skank sensing dog is out there.
Smelling trick.
Yes.
Just treats. And don't you eat too many or you're going to need a lot of Jardiance and
or you'll get
diabetes.
You get diabetes.
Happy Halloween.